President Donald Trump's first buddy bromance with Elon Musk is over. In the words of the White House, offboarding begins tonight. In fact, Elon wrote about it. As my scheduled time as a special government employee comes to an end, I would like to thank President Trump for the opportunity to reduce wasteful spending. The DOGE mission will only strengthen over time as it becomes a way of life throughout the government. Yeah, okay. Otherwise known as a hostage tweet. The swamp quite literally chewed up the world's richest man and spat him out. That is our Why It Matters segment tonight. I'll tell you why it should matter to the rest of us. Musk's White House departure shows that Trump and MAGA are more powerful than ever. Go all the way back 10 years, and plenty of people thought Donald Trump needed them, that they were somehow indispensable. They were all wrong, and so was Elon Musk. Politically speaking, this image perfectly sums up Trump and Musk's relationship. Trump views himself as a political god, and there is reason to believe that, especially after his comeback. He created Elon Musk's political career. He made Elon Musk relevant. Much like the Sistine Chapel depicts God creating Adam, Donald Trump created Elon. The President of the United States is often referred to as the most powerful man in the world. How powerful, you'd ask? Well, remember all those pictures of Elon Musk at the Resolute desk? It was literally on the cover of Time magazine. Elon Musk was the world's richest man. All those AI memes online showing Trump swearing in Elon in front of the U.S. Capitol. Democrats loathed Musk so much, they branded him the co-commander-in-chief. They organized anti-Musk rallies that ultimately led to violence against his car dealerships and his stock tanking. And even they marched out in the bitter cold to belt out this tune about Elon Musk.
We'll fight against Doge. We'll fight Elon Musk. No Elon's kept within our walls. We'll fight from dawn to dusk. Oh, which side are you on? Which side are you on? Tell me. Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
I almost missed those days. Musk also became the media's villain. Just yesterday, he was the talk of every cable news show from morning to night. You could not turn off the TV without seeing and hearing about Elon Musk. And he seemed to enjoy the brawl.
Legacy media propaganda is very effective at making people believe things that aren't true.
What would an example of that be?
That I'm a Nazi, for example.
But suddenly now he's gone. No more Oval Office press conferences, no more rides on Marine One with his son. Trump didn't need Elon anymore. So where is Elon Musk? Well, he's back with his day job at X, Tesla, and SpaceX. But unlike in the past, he's now on CBS Sunday Morning and talking to the Washington Post, grasping for relevance and maybe even a little redemption.
I was disappointed to see the massive spending bill, frankly. Which increases the budget deficit, doesn't decrease it, and undermines the work that the DOGE team is doing.
Musk went on to criticize Washington even further. In an interview with the Washington Post, he says DOGE is just becoming the whipping boy for everything. Something bad would happen anywhere, and DOGE would get blamed for it, even if they had nothing to do with it. Behind the scenes, we're learning Musk tried to kill a data center deal with the United Arab Emirates because his company wasn't included. Maybe that's why he's suddenly so critical of his former best friend. Plenty of people before Musk thought Trump needed them or they were indispensable. They were irreplaceable. They weren't. Neither is Elon Musk. For those keeping score, Musk's departure will only embolden a president who feels more powerful and, for that matter, is almost more popular than ever. We begin tonight with journalist, NewsNation contributor Chris Cillizza. Good to see you. I do think it is interesting now that Musk is criticizing Trump, how suddenly he is no longer villain number one.
It's so funny. I was thinking the same thing. It's like, oh, wait, now he's okay. He's a credible voice now because he's against the one big, beautiful bill. I mean, it is sort of transparent. I do think I'm so glad you highlighted the interviews he gave because it's so funny to me how Elon Musk, mainstream media, they love to lie. And then when he's trying to recoup his image, to sell Teslas again, for his business purposes. He's on CBS News and the Washington Post. I'm like, wait, but I thought the mainstream media was bad. Like, it's just, again, it's transparent. This relationship, this bromance, this friendship, whatever you want to call it, it always had an expiration date. I think you and I have talked about this off air. I always compare it to when my boys were little, 2, 3, 4 years old. When you go out to eat with them at a sit-down restaurant, you know that there's going to be a time when you're going to either have to get up and walk around with them or leave the restaurant entirely. That's kind of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. You knew there was a time when this relationship was going to end.
You may have known that, but I mean, there were a lot of people who thought that because Elon was so rich and controlled Twitter and everything else. This, to me, says that Donald Trump is a political, cultural force in America, unlike really anything we may have ever seen.
And he's totally sui generis. Like, Donald Trump is sort of he exists in his own space, right? He occupies a space, like him or hate him, he occupies a space in American, I was going to say American political life, but American life, culture, that no one else occupies. And I've seen this before. Look, it's not new that very, very wealthy people who have generational wealth, maybe not as rich as Elon Musk, but generational wealth, either run for office or donate a lot of money to people running for office, because the one thing they cannot have is real power over this town, right? That's the thing.
Well,
you can't
the famous line from the billionaires, right? Always, why would I want to be a senator when I can buy one?
Yeah. But I do think I understand the appeal that Washington and being close to Donald Trump had for Elon Musk, because put yourself in his shoes.
But Musk thought he was relevant. Musk thought he was
he wasn't. You know what, though? I would say he was relevant for a time.
Because of Donald Trump.
Well, proximity to Donald Trump.
And then
in politics.
Yeah.
I think he's still relevant in kind of culture and tech. Broadly.
Yeah. This is from Steve Bannon. Musk made himself a total pariah. Steve Bannon, the former chief strategist in Trump's first White House. He had access, admiration, and limited resources, and by his own actions towards people, blew it all. At some level, is it Donald Trump figured out that Musk was a liability?
Well, let me say this. Steve Bannon has always hated Elon Musk. I mean, this is not new. Like Steve Bannon was saying, I'm going to make it my personal mission to get rid of Elon Musk when Elon Musk was ascendant. But I do think, I just think it's the nature of who these two people are. And by these two people, I mean Donald Trump and Elon Musk. I just don't think there's enough oxygen in this town, at least, for both of them. And I always thought I won't use the word that I think the co-president thing was, liberals, he's the real president. I was like, look, one of these people got 78 million votes to be president of the United States. The other one got 0 votes. I know he's rich. I'm not suggesting he's not going to do things, but he's not going to be here. Elon Musk, on the last day, in 2029, Elon Musk is not going to be standing on the west front of the White House waving to Donald Trump. Like, it was never going to be a long-term thing. I don't know if he knew that, but I suspect Donald Trump did.
Well, Donald Trump, absolutely. Yeah. He's always known about it. There's very few people who have been around the whole time. You think about it, though, Tesla stock, everyone says how terrible this has been for Elon Musk. Tesla stock is up 101% in the past year. So that's not a bad year.
Nope. I would take my stock to go up 101%.
No problem. Please sign me up. And the other thing that's happened, and I'm not sure how fair this is, that there has been this sort of making fun of Doge, and that it didn't work. And yes, they started with $2 trillion. They got to
he oversold billion. He oversold it. That's on him a little bit.
But Musk oversells lots of things. But $170 billion in savings is a lot. What's interesting to me is Tim Burchett, congressman from Tennessee, maybe one of the only honest members of Congress.
I like him.
Predicted why all of the Doge cuts would not make it through Congress. Here you go.
I think that Elon Musk and the Doge group and President Trump probably have about 100 to 150 days before Congress loses its guts. Because I'm afraid what's going to happen is you're going to see that some of this money is flowing back to Congress members, either through family members, wife and or girlfriend that maybe works at one of these organizations or one of the companies or endless corporations that are attached to it.
That was February 14th, so roughly 125 days ago.
I mean, this will be cold comfort for my Democratic friends out there, but you and I have talked about this before, which is I actually think what the first 5 months of Donald Trump has shown at some level is that Washington's really hard to change. Elon Musk tried to come in and change how Washington works. He did some things, but the system is the system. It's been here for a really long time. Donald Trump has a unique ability because he's an elected official, a star, biggest fundraiser, biggest.
He still look. The swamp ate him in the first term.
But it just
and now
it's
he's trying
very,
to say, I got to get you
hard.
some breaking news. Just came in
of
from
course.
the New York Times. Trump tariffs ruled illegal by a federal judicial panel. It was a 3-judge panel at the New York-based Court of International Trade after several lawsuits. There we go. I'm over here. They're saying that Trump has exceeded his authority. It left U.S. trade policy dependent on his whims and unleashed economic chaos. This, according to the courts, the Trump administration is expected to appeal. This goes to, if it's a 3-judge panel, most likely it will ends up at the Supreme Court. This goes back to the whole idea of Trump's powers based on the emergency powers versus whether it needs to go to Congress. I will go back to what I've always said about Donald Trump. It almost doesn't matter whether or not he wins at the Supreme Court or not, or what the judges panel says, because to MAGA, all that matters is that he's fighting.
That's it. So much of the reason he got elected in 2024, at least, is because he was a fighter. That's it. People get too focused on issues. Yeah, immigration mattered, economy mattered, but he was a fighter. I talk to so many Democratic consultants, and they sit in these focus groups, and they say, what do you think of when you think of, this is now, what do you think of when you think of the Democratic Party? Weak, woke,
deer in headlights, I heard quoted, yeah.
And that's that was the fundamental choice. Like, we overthink this stuff too much. Donald Trump didn't win because of immigration. He didn't win because of the economy. Kamala Harris didn't lose because of Joe Biden. She didn't lose because she's not a great candidate. All those things played a role. People want someone to fight.
Even
if they don't agree with every fight he picks, and I think most people don't agree with every fight Donald Trump picks, even people who are for him are like, could we stay away from that one? But he fights, and that is, he understands that basic appeal. And to me, Democrats still don't really get that. It's not about tinkering around the edges. It's about finding someone who people believe is fighting for them.
Well,
so yes, the fight,
blow up Washington, which is
the
what so many
fight
people want.
in a lot of ways is the point, right? The process is the point, not the end, which is weird to think about. We don't have the full hour. I thought we had the full hour.
Yeah. Next time. Chris Cillizza, thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.